That's not what people have a problem with. What people have a problem with, I understand, is the idea of a phone call. And now the narrative has shifted to betrayal of a friend. That's what people want to say. I say Lestro. I say this is something that I've watched, experienced for years, tried to give every possible out to do the right thing, and have tried to do the right thing in the way that we run our own business. Saw the gaslighting, the bully tactics that take place behind the scenes of other creators, and knew it wouldn't be myself. So now the narrative shifts to how could you record a phone call, betray a friend? Well, hold on a second. It was just about money. This is just business, and now it's, hey, we're really good friends. Well, which is it? I mean, you kind of have to pick a lane, right? Are we good friends, or are you sending out a boilerplate contract that you demand of everybody, according to what they say, that have 110% penalties on behalf of big tech? And the issue with that is that it's dishonest. It's a tactic of the left. It's a tactic, the same kind of tactic that you see from the left, the gaslighting, where...
What's going on, everyone? It's Talks with Kenny here today. I'm back. Sore throat's still going, but I got to push through. So this is what Steven Crowder, you guys got to... Hopefully you guys seen it, but Steven Crowder made a lot of claims on the Timcast podcast. He made a claim that Daily Wire is playing ball with YouTube and these other big corporations behind the scenes, and I think he made a lot of good points. If you want to spend $10K on a Ben Shapiro sponsorship, they'll do it, and then they realize, damn, we didn't get our money's worth, right? Because Steven Crowder's making the claim that a lot of those views are fluff views. And since Ben Shapiro's seen as one of the biggest creators, they say, damn, if we spend $10K on Ben Shapiro's audience and we don't even get our money's worth, what incentive do we have to go to a smaller conservative creator and give them a sponsorship when the guy with millions of views in their movement is not getting us any money? Bruh. So Crowder's making this argument that it's actually, this is what he mean by stop Bitcoin, that they're doing all this, they're playing ball with Facebook, YouTube, Apple, Spotify, whatever. And that is actually hurting the big creator. This is why he said that there won't be someone after him, right? Because he's saying that these big conservative media are doing all this stuff. And it's almost like, small creators like me, we don't have the money to invest millions and millions of dollars of ads. Now, ads there's no problem with like advertising your stuff. The problem is that when sponsors come in on false pretexts, right? That, really your audience is really 100,000 subscribers, but you have bots or whatever, subscription bots that make it look like you have $5.5 million. So when you charge $5.5 million fees for sponsorships and they only getting returns that would have been more efficient at 100,000, they're like, yo, the returns don't add up with the sponsorships, and that hurts the little guy, which is us, right? Or smaller creators around my range or under the $100,000 subscriber range. And that's some of the claims that Steven Crowder was making. Now I'm gonna get sorry it was a long intro, but I wanted to get into the video right now. This is where we're kind of gonna start off from. This is from 12 minutes into the live stream. Let's get into the video.
I don't think it gives you an excuse to go and talk the way like every girl does who gets their husband into a fight at a bar, but I understand why she was upset. If you had the ability, if someone's going out saying, hey, you're a difficult person who only cares about the money, and that you're a bitch, and you had the opportunity to clear it in because it was verifiably untrue, which now no one is arguing, would you do it? How else would people switch from, it was about a $50 million salary to, recording a phone call? Do we allow it when James O'Keefe does it? Is it only when corruption is on the side of the left? And here's the issue.
Oh my God. That's a good point, right? Project Veritas records people unwillingly all the time, right? And this is what my thing's been about. It's been about consistency, right? If we're not outraged at Project Veritas for exposing stuff, these people didn't know they were being recorded, right? If we don't chastise them for that, why we should chastise Crowder for doing the exact same thing, right? The only difference is the target of that. The target is these left-wing people, and here Steven Crowder is doing it to someone that's on our side, right? If we are all for exposing corruption, then that should be consistent throughout, no matter who it is, right? So I think when I did a poll earlier. The second, many people thought Crowder would announce his new company here, but the second one was Crowder's just gonna focus time just responding to criticism, and this is what it seemed like it was. He was just responding to all the criticism out there. Candace Owens calling him a. I'm sorry, I cursed, guys. And he's just like, he's like, Candace Owens being emotional. Sure, she has some valid points. I can understand why she's mad, but she don't need to attack me like that, right? And that's true. You don't need to. Nope. You don't need to attack him like that. You don't need to attack him personally. And I think this is what many people had a problem with Candace, right? People think Candace Owens is shilling. Just think she's just a bad person. It didn't help. Like I said in my earlier videos, it didn't help Candace's case doing all that. But hey, Candace is going to be Candace, and sometimes it works for her, and other times it really hurts her. But let's get back into the video.
I'll tell you who this hurts, the dishonesty. I'm not just saying Daily Wire. This is about the entire movement as a whole. There are a lot of practices that go on, and it hurts the sponsors, hurts the creators, hurts the viewers, hurts the investors. And by investors with us, it's entirely Mug Club. It's people who pay to subscribe. We don't make a dime off of YouTube. We haven't for many years. And it hurts if you believe what we say we believe, the movement in the country as a whole. So that right there, is fundamentally dishonest. And the gaslighting still keeps taking place. Candace Owens on this show said, hey, we all follow the same guidelines, right? We all follow the same. Crowder does too. That's verifiably false. And I'll say you can publicly audit this. We've had 4 strikes, right, in the last, since May, I think, 2021 to October 2022. One was.
And before he goes in, I believe this was Crowder's strongest point throughout the entire show that really makes me question, damn. Do Daily Wire needs to respond to this? Because this claim that Crowder's about to get into, he's gonna make a claim that in the background, right, that he said he acknowledged that he doesn't have any proof of this, that Daily Wire is allowed to do stuff that independent creators aren't allowed to do. And he makes the contrast where he's like, why should I get penalized because I'm losing viewership on one platform when the contract is just supposed to be generic, right? And that's what I noticed too, is that even if he was banned off YouTube, he should not be penalized because there's alternative tech out there, alternative platforms out there, like Rumble. I'm on Rumble, right? Ben Shapiro's starting to live stream on Rumble, I think, right? If he gets banned on YouTube, you're like, okay, we carry on Rumble. And that was a good point that Steven Crowder made. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense. So to me, now my perspective on the contract changed. Instead of it just being, it's just business, I'm looking at it like, hey, you're saying you're fighting big tech, which is Steven Crowder's claim, right? He's saying, if you guys say you're fighting big tech, then why are you penalizing your talent, your host, your creators, because they're getting banned off the platforms that you're actually ideologically fighting against? That's a moment. Because end of the day, if Ben Shapiro gets banned, so what? Carry on Rumble. Hey guys, hey subscribers, follow the show on Rumble. Hey guys, go on Twitter. Hey guys, we'll be on Rumble, right? There's some people that got more following on Rumble than they do on YouTube. So Crowder's a little now I don't question where Crowder's coming from anymore, because now he's making very good sense here. I'm sorry I'm rambling, but let's get back into the video.
Was the Ma'Khia Bryant. One was a sketch with Alex Jones. That one's guilty. One was
as charged.
One was him quoting the CDC. And by the way, none of this will get you in trouble because you can say this now. Him quoting the CDC.
I did, yeah.
Bringing up the CDC numbers on flu deaths for children versus COVID. And we were saying this is interesting science, right? That COVID kills more senior citizens, but for some reason it's significantly less lethal to young people, to infants. That science is accepted now, so you won't get a strike. But that was one of the strikes. The other was when we had Carrie Lake on in a gubernatorial election. 4. How many have taken place from Daily Wire? You guys, 0. Now here's
Let's get back.
the thing. I'm not saying it's a badge of honor. I'm not saying that it's a badge of honor to be suspended. If they came out and said, look, we demand, as Jeremy said in his 55-minute video, we demand that all of our creators follow these rules that YouTube and Facebook set through punitive practices in mandating of our creators to do so. And Crowder's a little bit more of a rebel. You know what? He's been banned for 4 times. And that's not the same kind of, that's not a problem. The problem is saying that we all follow the same rules, because so that's all publicly verifiable. Now, I could tell you guys.
And his point here is that Candace made the claim, or I think he's meant Jeremy. Daily Wire make a claim that, hey, we're following the same rules just like Steven Crowder's following the rules, right? And Steven Crowder's like, no, we're not, because when you follow a rule, right, if you're playing basketball, you travel, you get called for the travel, you lose possession of the ball, right? AKA, I get a channel strike, right? You guys got no channel strikes. So it looks like y'all not playing by the same rules that I'm being played by. And that's the argument he's trying to make, is that Bitcoin have special rights and privileges that independent creators don't have. And he uses the fact that, hey, look, we suffer different consequences for these things, right? I got 4 strikes, you got none, right? That's something that I think Daily Wire might have to respond to. And yes, I'm gonna have to cover it. Bruh. But let's get back into the video.
Guys, behind the scenes, I've had many conversations with senior YouTube executives who say, we might be able to get you remonetized if you kind of play ball like these guys, Daily Wire, and insert other people here. I could tell you that, but would you believe me? Or would I have to provide receipts? I could tell you that takes place. That hurts the creators out there who they end up, hitting a glass ceiling that is set, the sandbox that is mandated to their creators. The same thing happens with sponsors.
Well, let me ask you real quick. What does that mean, play ball? Obviously, you're paraphrasing, but...
Yeah, paraphrasing. Titles, subjects, not talk about this subject or not talk about it in this way.
Yeah.
And I think this is the main part that Crowder has a problem with, I guess, mainstream conservative corporations or whatever, is that he believes that they're restricting, like, the creativity, the unique perspectives people have, the unique ways they go about things. He believes it's starting to become too uniform, right? And this is why one of the reasons I say, okay, Steven Crowder likes to have control of how he produces his show. So if Daily Wire is not willing to compromise on letting him have creative freedom, then go your separate ways and Crowder starts his own thing. That was my initial thought. But what Crowder's trying to say is, hey, it's not just Daily Wire. I'm just using Daily Wire as an example. That this is what's going on in all mainstream conservative networks, that they're playing ball with big tech. And this is what he's trying to make the correlation. He's trying to make that tie-in that, hey, they're playing by a special set of rules because they're agreed. Hey, we ain't going to talk about this topic. Oh, we're not going to really go in as much as I want to go in, right? Let's say Candace. Like, Candace is the most passionate one out of everyone on Daily Wire. No one's going to argue with me on that one, right? Let's say Candace Owens found something. I don't even know what will be a controversial topic that she would go in on. But let's say Candace Owens was about to talk about something like maybe COVID or whatever. At the time when no one knew much about COVID, they'll be like, hey, Candace, we know you like to go in on this, but take a little more balanced perspective on it. And I think that's the thing that Crowder's insinuating here. But like he said, he has to provide proof for this. All at the end of the day, this is just a claim. This is not truth. This is not reality. This is not, hey, this is what's happening for sure. I'm not saying that. And Steven Crowder's not saying that. So I don't want to see that in the comment section, you guys going, bruh, it's not provable. He has no proof. We know he has no proof. He's just making a claim and then trying to use some examples to further, I guess, give more credibility to it. But I'm talking too much. Let's get back into it.
Maybe soften, don't use these words, maybe change this a little bit. This happens a lot right behind the scenes, and that makes it impossible for independent content creators.
And sorry, Mark Dice explained that too. Like he caught Ben Shapiro. They caught Ben Shapiro on a hot mic saying, "Oh, can we take away this statement here? It sounds a little weird, and I don't want to get boycotted." Right? So there is some validity. Like other creators are tying pieces together to back up what Steven Crowder is claiming here, right? I'm just saying.
The same thing happens, by the way. So that's gaslighting that you see right there. We all follow the same rules. It was about money, then it's about a phone call with sponsors. Look.
But if I could ask you, did YouTube reach out to you and say, hey, do you want to play ball with us?
Yeah, we have conversations all the time with YouTube.
Got it.
Matter of fact, I can tell you that, here's the thing. I'm not going to be providing receipts to people who don't want to be involved, right? Yeah. There's a difference between single-party consent state and wiretapping. You don't rope people in who are victims. But if it's an entity that you believe is predatory, that's the difference. There are good people at YouTube. There are some good people there who want, but their hands are tied. And guess what? Everyone else's hands are tied. If you say, hey, we're all trying to fight this system that exists, but you're not. You're mandating that you exist within the system. Only one person is saying, hey, you know what? If you want to be monetized and you don't, that's fine. And one is saying, you have to fit into this box.
Very important context to this is, obviously, after you put out the first video, I've talked with a bunch of my friends, and they said, look, you know, Daily Wire is trying to run a business. If he gets banned off YouTube, how are they going to sell ads? How are they going to do the sponsorships? Where his views are gone.
Yeah.
And I've seen people tweet, all of Crowder's views come from YouTube anyway, so he'd basically be
Oh, yeah, that's not that's not really true, because it goes, and I think this is the part where he goes in, and I might end it off on this point here in the video, but he talks about how, hey, like, these are my fans. They're following me anywhere. I remember one time when he was banned off YouTube for 2 weeks for the midterm election, he did everything on Rumble. He was getting a lot of concurrent viewers going through Rumble. It was, I don't know how many, but that's an example of him saying, hey, you don't have to lock me into platforms just because I lost monetization. Now, someone can make the point that, hey, he can get way more money on these other platforms, right? Because that's where the people are. That's what Jeremy said in his original video. Sure, but you have workarounds where you don't have to penalize the creator for lost revenue because he got banned on just one platform. You just, hey, drive that traffic into the other one, right? And I made an example how the All Daily Wire host shouted out Brett Cooper before she had even one video on her YouTube channel. They shouted her out. She had 50,000 subscribers before she shot up one video. After she shot one video, and, you know, obviously exponential at that point. The Daily Wire could literally do the same thing. Oh, hey, Crowder got banned off YouTube. Check out his Rumble. Literally, you can do the same playbook and drive your traffic to Rumble, right? And that, I think this is the business model that Steven Crowder was trying to allude to with Jeremy. And Jeremy was like, we're going to consider it, which in reality means nope. So I'm just saying, it's interesting now. Now I'm, you know what happened with drama. You know, when one person has the floor, you're like, okay, I wonder how they're going to go about it. The other one has a point, and I didn't think he was going to prove more receipts, and he didn't have any more proof. The only proof he had was that Daily Wire tried to steal one of his social media managers after the deal discussion. But hey, I digress. Let's get back into it.
monetizable if he was banned. And then I point out, first of all, that's just categorically false.
Yes, not true.
Because Rumble exists. And
Ben streamed there for the first time today.
And this is an important context. The contract you were offered says Facebook, Apple, I said YouTube, Apple, Facebook, Spotify, but it didn't mention any of your views from any other platforms. And there's Google Podcasts. They get views. I know the numbers. Obviously, it's not the same as say Apple, but it's interesting to me that for a lot of people, like Dan Bongino, for instance, had more subscribers on Rumble than YouTube.
Yeah.
It's interesting then that their attitude is, if you're banned from YouTube, it's a 20% fee reduction, which you mentioned includes your staff
25.
salary. 25.
And then, no, sorry, 25 for and then another 20. It's 45.
demonetization.
In other words, for us, right off the bat. And this is the thing. I said, like, what, is this an accident? Like, you know, in other words, okay, we're good.
But let me
friends.
just.
But hold on a second. Does anyone here have a problem? Do you not believe me when I say we haven't been monetized on YouTube for 3 years? You all know that,
right?
Of
course.
Literally,
and we're not that close.
0 days, or did you have?
So
pockets?
what happened is we were demonetized. How many years ago? Then someone accidentally remonetized us for like 4 months, and then demonetized. And then demonetized again. We were like, "What happened?" And they were like, "Yeah, actually, no, sorry, you're demonetized again." I was like, "Well, skunked again."
So what did we do to get monetized, basically?
But
Of course, they can't answer, right?
I want to make sure this point is made clear for everybody, because
Yeah.
this is a very important part of the argument when I heard it. If the point is you can't sell ads or build an audience because YouTube banned you and that's it, but you're getting 85% or more views on Rumble, the question is, why no penalty for getting banned from Rumble? Why is Rumble not a consideration in the contract at all?
Oh, well, from my memory, I remember Jerry Boring. Sorry if I said his name wrong. He mentioned that to him, right, to the Daily Wire's point of view, Rumble is not that big yet to really justify, you know, you suffering a penalty, right? It's just they don't see much value in Rumble right now. They see it as a possible solution on moving forward long term, but as of right now, short term, they don't see it as that business wise viable for their business model, right? And I think that's the disagreement that Crowder and Jeremy had, and this is what led to all this stop the big con, because Crowder's like, yo, I'm the talent. It shouldn't matter where I'm doing my show on. Why you're going to penalize me because I got banned from a preferable platform? That don't make sense, right?
It doesn't make sense.
But hey, man, this is just business, right?
And why don't they simply say comparable views instead of the platform?
Right.
Like, if for every million views per day you lose, we dock you X
I can answer
percent.
you that question exactly, because
So what
it's
happened?
fundamental to the business model. And I was informed of that. It is fundamental. In other words, there are plenty of options out there, right? He can tell you. I get excited when I walk out of them and go, hey, how many people are tuning in live on YouTube? How many on Rumble? They go, oh, it's tips. There are more people on Rumble. Sure, I've been on YouTube for a long time, since 2006, but it doesn't mean that they don't change, right? And the issue is, I think it's a great thing to use these platforms. There's a huge difference, by the way, between being monetized and being on the platform.
Yeah.
But ultimately, if we believe what we say, we have to be trying to get to the point where we know that fast forward 5 years, you can't speak the truth on YouTube, certainly not if you want to be monetized. But there's this jockeying for position with people who they see as competition. And the issue here that I've always made clear is the locking in of these punitive contracts that mandate and enforce big tech policies and guidelines as a matter of business. And that hurts creators. And the same thing, by the way, when we're talking about misleading practices with sponsors, there's no problem, right? And this is all publicly verifiable. I want you guys to be able to audit this so that there don't have to be as many receipts provided. You market your channel, right? I think we probably have some ads running right now, like Spotify, like, hey, if you like this show, tune in on Spotify. But there's a big difference. We know that there's a huge problem in our industry of pay to play. Now, you can do that. That's fine if you want to grow your numbers. But
What is that?
So pay to play means that you can buy views, right? You can pay to play. You can run your video as a pre-roll ad, and people see that number. But really, a lot of them are 14-second views, 8-second views, but it still clicks that counter. The closest apples to apples comparison that you could do right now is you could go out and take, like, let's say, not this controversy because there's cross-pollination, but Ben Shapiro's a huge show. Of course he is. But go take some videos there right now that have 1 million plays. Go month after month. Take a bunch of them. Look at the likes. Look at the comments. Take videos from my channel. It's comparable plays. Take them with 800,000, 600,000 plays because we've converted them a lot to Rumble. Look at the likes, look at the comments. It's startling because it's a lot easier to buy plays than it is to buy likes and comments. That's not a problem.
Well, are you saying that the Daily Wire is buying views for their content?
I'm saying that they run the videos. This happens not just Daily Wire, to be clear. Stop Big Con is designed because it's the entire industry. And what happens is, yes, these views get inflated. There's nothing wrong with running ads to increase the video count. The problem is this. When that is used to then go out and set sponsorship rates, and then
here's where I think was, this is like, I think Daily Wire has to respond to this claim right here.
And this is what happens with creators. When you sit down with sponsors, and these are hard-earned dollars, right? A lot of them are mid-sized companies. You run them on this show, and they say, yeah, but you know what? We didn't get our money's worth, and this person is the #1 show, because they go out and they say that they have these numbers, and they set what happens? They drop those rates across the board, which hurts everybody, or they pull out altogether. Now, you can publicly verify that information. Now, I could tell you guys that I've had conversations with sponsors that say, we're not going to be running in the conservative space because it's just not as effective as we thought it was, or you know what, we're going to be pulling out. And content creators will say, why am I getting these low advertising rates? Here's the issue. If you're some kid.
So we hear sitting here saying, "Oh, it's big tech. Big tech is lowering our monetization rates. Big tech is stopping all this stuff." And Crowder's argument is like, "Nah, it's BigCon. BigCon set the standard with inflated views, right? Not much engage. The engagement doesn't match the views, right? That means your sponsorship's not really in front of like concurrent sitting there watching users." And they're charging these exorbitant rates, and these companies, these businesses that invest in the conservative space, they're seeing that and they're saying, damn, we're not getting any return on this. And then this smaller creator is coming to me and asking me for a sponsorship. If this is what the top guy's getting, there's no way in heck we're going to get anything for this guy. So we'll lower our sponsorship budget for these creators. And this is what effectively Crowder is alluding to. But hey, I'm gonna end the video right here. If you want to watch the rest of the live stream, I'm pretty sure Timcast will start putting out short clips, and you can watch this on your own, or just go through the whole 2 hours and watch it. I found it very interesting. My last thoughts: Crowder made some very interesting points. I believe he was able to properly respond to all the criticism around him. If I missed anything, let me know in the comment section. Thanks for watching to the end of the video. I really do appreciate it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I really like to see you guys on the next one. Peace.